Well, welcome. This is Mr. Edstrom, and right now we're going to be talking about sex-linked traits, and that will be determining the probability of outcomes for crosses involving sex-linked traits. And basically, what that would be is there are things called karyotypes, and this would be a picture of an individual's chromosomes. And again, they are sorted largest to smallest, all the way from sets 1 through 22. And then there are the X chromosomes, the sex chromosomes, the X and the Y. Those are the two types of sex-determining chromosomes. If one was to have an X and a Y, like is depicted in this picture, that individual would be a male. If you had two X chromosomes, that individual would be a female. And so there are some, as you can see here, the X chromosome is much larger than the Y chromosome, so it wouldn't be too surprising to imagine that there are some genes down on this end of the Y chromosome, or excuse me, the X chromosome, that are not found on the Y chromosome. And so that is, in fact, what goes on. And just a quicker look at what the X and Y chromosomes look like after they have replicated. So here's the centromere, the daughter, the sister chromatids. The X chromosome kind of looks like an X, as I can imagine why somebody may have named it like that. And then the Y chromosome looks kind of, because there's only a little bit of chromatid at the other end of the centromere here, that it kind of looks like a little Y. So that's my guess as far as why they would call it X and Y. At any rate, when you are having when sperm cells are being made through meiosis, there's replication of the X chromosome and the Y chromosome. So now you've got two copies of those same things. They will segregate when meiosis 1 occurs, and so you're going to get one cell with the Y chromosomes, one cell with the X chromosomes, and then they will go through meiosis 2, and then you'll end up with one of each in each of those. And so there's a 50-50 shot that the male is going to give an X chromosome, a 50-50 chance that the male will give the Y chromosome. So it's basically going to be the father who will determine whether the offspring, the child, will either be a son or a daughter. The mother can only give X chromosomes, and that's not to lessen her role in the whole thing, but she can only give X chromosomes to all her sons and daughters. The father will be the one who will either give an X chromosome to his daughters or a Y chromosome to his sons. And so that's a quick and easy way to look at it. You can also set it up in a Punnett square. Again, it is a probability thing, so we should be able to set it up in a Punnett square, and you can see where those Y chromosomes will determine the male, the 50% male chance, and him giving an X will be the thing that will be determining the 50% female. If we look at genes that are found only on the X chromosome, like we said, color blindness would be one of those. And it is a recessive trait, as it says up here at the top. Color blindness is a recessive trait, and it's X-linked. That means it's linked to the X chromosome. It is only on the X chromosome, not on the Y chromosome. It does so happen that there are genes that are Y-linked, only found on the Y chromosomes, but we're not going to really talk at all about those. But the X chromosomes are the ones that would have a colorblind or normal visioned gene on them. If they are referred to as unaffected, as they are here, that would be the dark colored gene here. The affected gene would be the white colored one. That would be the recessive case. So this mother right here is not colorblind because she has only one recessive allele for color blindness. The other gene that she has, the other allele that she has, is for the dominant normal vision gene. The father here, being only one chromosome present in his cells, is going to have a normal vision because of this normal visioned dominant allele. Now what will go on is the father can only give this normal visioned allele to any of his kids, and in fact he's only going to give an X chromosome, like we said earlier, to his daughters. And so he's only going to give the normal visioned allele to his offspring. He doesn't have a colorblind allele to give off like the mother does here. So she is going to be giving the that X chromosome, this X chromosome, to a daughter. You can see that it goes right there. And it also can go to a son. But the same deal happens as did with the mother, is if the daughter gets the normal visioned allele from the father right here, that will mask, that will be dominant to the colorblind allele from the mother. So the first thing that I would do when I'm setting up one of these colorblind X-linked traits is I would set up your Punnett square and just set up the male and female so that you get the 50-50 shot of getting a male or a female. Set that up right away. Then what you can do in this situation here with colorblindness, X-linked recessive, you will know then that what will happen is you'll already have the X's and the Y's already in place. This is a little bit different than the previous slide. I apologize about that. But what you'll get is then you'll want to put in the recessive alleles that were transferred from the mother, and you'll go and put those in place. And what I also like to do is go ahead and put all the dominant alleles in as well, just so then you've got them and you know that they're there and they're different from the other one. It sometimes makes it a little bit crowded in here, but and it's again your own personal preference. If you just wanted to put the recessive allele in there, that would be fine. But I like to have that as in there as well. But you'll see that the mother does have that normal visioned allele and will pass that on to a daughter and a son. The mother has that recessive colorblind allele that she will pass on to one of her sons. And so no daughters will be colorblind, but just the son will. And so this is a sex linked. It's linked to their sex, as whether they're a male or a female will have some determining factor just simply because of the chromosomes that are present and the genes that are on those chromosomes as to whether they are affected by this allele or not. Turns out that males in X-linked recessive traits are affected much more often than the females simply because the males only have the one X chromosome to say anything about it, whereas even though the female here has a colorblind allele just like this one does, there is another normal visioned allele that will mask that colorblind allele in this case. So it turns out that X-linked traits are not just in humans. There are all sorts of organisms that are affected by the X and Y chromosomes, and this fruit fly is one of them. He's got beautiful red eyes. The Drosophila melanogaster is one of them, and the two alleles here are for either red eyes or for white eyes, and it turns out that these eye color genes are in fact found on the X chromosome, not on the Y. And so this is a sex-linked and X-linked trait in fruit flies. This is the geneticist's dream right here. Fruit flies, they're easy to reproduce. You can get lots of them very quickly within about a week, and you can then count them up and you get all sorts of nice results that do follow along with these inheritance patterns of X-linked traits. So for you, what I'll ask you to do here in a minute is to go through and try and do this cross. So eye color in fruit flies is sex-linked with the recessive allele causing white eyes. So the white eyes are recessive. Show the cross for a white-eyed female and a red-eyed male. How many offspring will have white eyes and what will be their sex? And so what you would do right here is, first of all, like I said, set up your X and Y and XX Punnett square and then get going. So I'll ask you to do that. I'll ask you to pause, try it out, and then we'll show you the answer here in a minute. So go ahead and pause right now. All right, welcome back. And so the answer, how you would go about figuring this all out, is to set up with your X and your X on one side, your XY on the top, like you already did. The red-eyed male will be indicated by that dominant red allele. The recessive allele for white eyes, if the female has that allele or has that gene, has that trait of white eyes, that means she must have both white-eyed alleles here. And so she will pass both of those alleles on to any offspring. It turns out that the male, in this case, being red-eyed, will give that red-eyed allele to his daughters, where the daughters will then be a carrier. The female, being white-eyed, will pass that the white-eyed recessive allele on to each of her sons. So even though the dad didn't have white eyes initially, all of their sons will. So we will do some more of these crosses in class. Please bring your questions and don't be shy.